Hi, this is SJ Talks in Life. I'm coming back at you with another video. I have it on the Pink Book Lessons channel. I knew she was going to jump on this. I knew she was going to jump on this topic. With the mother, I did a little video. I got a lot of hits on that video, surprisingly, about the mother that had in Detroit, that had the 12 kids. She died while giving birth to baby number 12. Um, and I was asking the question in that other video, where were the fathers? And somebody came in the comment section and said one was deceased and one was in jail. It was two fathers. Now I don't know if this is the truth or they're just saying that, the map maker looks so bad. I don't know. Could be true. Could be true. Not all black women have, you know, baby daddies all over the place. But she's bringing up some good points here in this video. Uh, the grandmother is 60 years old. Now she's going to be saddled with the responsibility of taking care of these 12 kids. They all range from ages from 19 to newborn. She's breaking it out. You have to go over the Pink Book Lessons channel. She said she on this picture this clip she lists all the ages. She says all the ages of the kids. I can't remember, but it's from 19 all the way down to newborn. Apparently she had two grandchildren. I guess the 19-year-old probably had two kids. I'm assuming she had two grandbabies on top of the 12 kids. Um, so I wanted to expand a little further on that. Not trying to bash the woman, not trying to bash her. I'm not trying to pass judgment on her. Hearts and prayers go out to her family and condolences. It's really, really sad that she lost her life. Um, um, Black women have the highest mortality rate with giving birth. They try to find out. I think a lot has to do with discrimination. There's racism. Obviously, there's racism in the medical care system. I when I had my two children, thank God, I had blessed doctors, and I had when I had my youngest, I had a real blessed OBGY. She was really, really blessed. She was really a good doctor. I had blessed doctors and I had blessed nurses when I went in the hospital to have, because both pregnancies I had to be induced. And I had blessed nurses, I had blessed doctors. So thank God I had great prenatal care in both pregnancies. So, because when I was pregnant with my oldest, I had a little high blood pressure. Um, when I was pregnant with my oldest, I had more complications than I did with my youngest, and I was 22 years old when I was carrying my oldest. But when I was carrying my oldest, I had real bad, terrible back pain. And I had high blood pressure because I remember I always had to go to the hospital to have them put a monitor on my stomach to monitor my son's blood pressure at the time. And they were telling me to get to stay on, get somewhere and sit down. And I was being hard headed and walking to Kmart. I was walking because at the time I didn't have a car and I walked everywhere. I mean, my ankles and my feet were my main mode of transportation. And they said, well, told me to go home and get somewhere and sit down and lay down. And I was being hard headed. But thank God, my son was healthy. I was healthy. Um, and then when I was pregnant with my youngest son, I had a blessed pregnancy. I was messed up in the head. I was messed up emotionally, but physically I had a blessed pregnancy. I mean, I got morning sickness one time with my youngest, and that was it. And my ankle swelled up a little bit because I was standing on my feet for so long because, well, I worked for the whole 9 months that I was pregnant. So I just came home and propped my feet up, soaked them in some Epsom salts, elevated them, and it kept on moving. But other than that, I had no high blood pressure or nothing. I had a really blessed pregnancy with my youngest son. I still went to the gym and I still exercised and all that. With my oldest son, I had more complications. I had morning sickness throughout the whole pregnancy. I don't know what was that. What was up with that? Couldn't keep nothing on my stomach. I had high blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. So I had a better, healthier pregnancy when I was 32 than I did at 22. That's crazy. Maybe my body was more mature and everything and more developed. But I was blessed. I was blessed. I had blessed doctors and blessed prenatal care and all that. But that's a problem issue with a lot of black women that the highest black women are having high mortality rates and complication rates for having children. And it has to be medical racism in the healthcare system. They're gonna have to get a handle on that. And when black people, talk about being in pain, they minimize it. For some reason, don't think we experience the same level of pain as everybody else, which is stupid, which is weird. I mean, they shouldn't even be teaching that in medical school because, well, we're all human beings in bodies. I took anatomy class, and everybody's body is the same. We have the same things, in our body. We don't have anything different going on in our bodies except for the mentally. We don't we don't have anything different in our bodies than what everybody else got. So why would we experience a different level of pain? So I mean, if they're teaching people that in medical school, shame on them. Nursing school and medical school, shame on them. Because sometimes I've heard of them under medicating black people. That's a whole nother video. I'm really not trying to get into all that, but I've heard of black people being under medicated. I know when I just went into the doctor, I go to a community healthcare center. I did a video talking about the Asian doctor that I encountered because they always have different doctors coming in there, and I wanted to cuss him out. He was minimizing my pain and all that. But this recently, when I talked about, if you've seen the video where I'm talking about my ear infection, I went in for my ear infection, and that doctor, if I could grade her, I would have gave her an A plus. She was excellent. This lady she was a different lady, because I was gonna tell him I don't want that and it's not his race. His race has nothing to do with it. It's him. And so they didn't give me him. They gave me someone else this time. And this lady was excellent. Oh my God. If I could have graded her, I would have gave her an A plus. She was, she checked my ear. She said, "Oh yeah, you got a real bad ear infection and everything." And she's very thorough. Excellent. And then I had an appointment the following week that they had already pre-scheduled because they said that my iron was a little low or something. So I had already had that scheduled. So I went back for that appointment, and she checked my ear again, and she said, "Yeah, unfortunately my ear, I'm still having issues. I'm done with my round of antibiotics, but I'm still having issues with my ear. I can't hear good." And she said my eardrum was ruptured. And she said, "Well, if it doesn't get better, come on back, and I might have to refer you to an ear, nose, and throat specialist." So I'll go into that another time, but she was excellent. She was excellent. We talked about my iron. We talked about my thyroid, because that was another reason why they rescheduled the appointment, or they scheduled another appointment because I have a thyroid issue, and they said it was a little off. So we talked about that. She said, "Well, we're going to do another blood panel," and she broke it down how they don't want to adjust the meds until they double check and get a more thorough screening of my thyroid. And she broke all that down to me. And I mean, this lady was excellent. Oh my God. If I could grade her, I would give her an A plus. She was excellent. Very thorough, very caring, compassionate. Checked off all my boxes as far as a doctor. But with that being said, yeah, they need to get a handle on that, because black people are being discriminated against in the healthcare system, and that is not okay. That is not okay, because you have some of these doctors, and not all of them, because even in that experience I had with the Asian guy, was not a good experience, but then I went back. This time was a great experience. So it depends on the doctor. It depends on the doctors. If the doctors already have a biasness, if they're not supposed to be that way, but if they already have a biasness towards black people, then you're gonna get you're gonna get an issue. Anyway, I'm really not trying to make this video too long. I'm way off topic. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. It's a whole nother video. But I want to talk about black single women having too many kids. Black single women having too many children. In this, like I said, I'm not trying to judge her or pass any judgment on her or anything like that. But when this woman didn't even have life insurance. She didn't have life insurance. She was low income, and that's the problem with single women. Black women have too many kids. When single black women have too many children, and I've talked about this in other videos because I talk a lot about single motherhood. When black women have, the more children you have as a single parent, particularly being a black woman, your poverty, you're increasing your chances of being in poverty. It's going to sink you deeper into poverty. When the more kids you have, it's going to sink you deeper into poverty, and it's going to be more difficult getting out of it. I gave the analogy in other videos. I like to use the analogy of a deep pit. Poverty is like a deep pit. It's like falling into a deep pit and trying to crawl your way out of it. And every time you get up like so, something knocks you back down. That's what I like to use that as a deep pit as an analogy for poverty. Poverty is something that's very, very, very difficult to get out of. It's very difficult to get out of poverty. I had 2 kids and I struggled when I had my 2 sons, and I worked. I struggled when I had my 2 kids. I can't even imagine 12 kids. It's hard for me to even wrap my mind around her being single and having 12 kids. And unfortunately, I hate to state the obvious, but a lot of young black women, we need to get to these girls while they're in high school or junior high or something, and have a talk with them, because a lot of these young ladies have the mindset, and this is not all black women. This is some black women, young black women have the mindset that if they have certain X amount of kids, that they're going to get more benefits. They're going to get more welfare. They're going to get more food stamps. They're going to qualify for Section 8 and all this kind of stuff. So they figure, well, you get a tax, refund. You get a big fat tax check at the end of the year. But I think, correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong, but I think that tops out at 3 kids. I think they'll only do that refund at the end of the year, the child care tax. I think you can only get it for up to 3 or 4 kids. After that, you don't get no more. They ain't gonna give you all that. The government ain't about to drop you all that money. So they figured they get that. They figure they'll get, she was probably getting long food stamps. Her food stamps was long. With 12 kids, I used to work in retail. And and a little receipt would come out of the cash register. The regular receipt would come out. And then another little receipt would come out showing how much they food stamp balance was. And so I'd be looking at them food stamp balance and say, ooh, they got some long food stamps. And some of them people was coming in there with long food stamps. She had long food stamps with 12 kids. She was getting long food stamps. Her food stamps was long. And so that's what a lot of young women, unfortunately, are of the mindset when they have more kids, then they're going to qualify for more benefits. Like I said, the welfare system has changed. And I may do another video, when I do the research, I may do another whole video on that, about the Welfare Reform Act that took place in the 1990s. When I do my research, I may come back and do another video on that. But the welfare system has changed, and people just can't sit on it no more. But when you have this many kids, it might be a different ball game. I don't know. But they figure, even, hey, if they don't get cash benefits or whatever, they figure they can get more food stamps. They figure they can qualify for Section 8. And some, unfortunately, a lot of young black ladies have this mindset. We need to get to them when they're in junior high. We need to get to them when they're in junior high. Talk to them when they're in school, and tell them that teach them about proper family planning. Family planning. Secure a great husband, marriage mate before you have children. Making sure you're financially stable before you have children. They need to get to these girls when they're young, because they're starting young. They're popping out babies at 12, 13. You got to get to them when they're young. They're starting young. She started at 16, but there's girls that starting younger than that. They're starting younger than that. They're popping them out at 12 and 13 years old. So we got to get to them when they're young. We got to talk to them when they're real young, and try to steer them in a different direction, because this is ridiculous. And the more children that a black woman has, because it's more detrimental when we're single mothers. It's harder. We have a harder time, because why? We don't get paid as much as our white counterparts. We make less money. When we do work, we make less money. We don't make as much money as our white counterparts. We're more likely to struggle. We're more likely to have to endure racial discrimination in the workplace, which could result in getting fired. Like I said, I had to leave a couple of jobs because of racism. I was forced to resign off of one. And yeah, I had to leave two jobs because of race. So we're most likely to have to deal with racial discrimination. We don't get paid as much as our white counterparts. And we're more likely to be in poverty. This is why it does not benefit black women to have multiple children as a single mother. I wouldn't recommend, I've always said in many of my videos, and you watch me on a regular basis, that I've said many times, I don't recommend single motherhood to anybody. I recommend getting married, securing a marriage mate first. I would not recommend, I would never recommend anybody being a single mother, especially a black woman. And it's more detrimental. You sink yourself deeper in poverty. And these young ladies have the mindset, when they have all these kids, well, I'm going to get more benefits, which is a terrible reason to have kids. It's a horrible reason to have kids. First of all, everybody with half a brain knows that you can't rely on the government, because the government can pull the rug from up underneath you anytime. All it takes is to get a certain president in there. The government flips the script all the time. They cutting out the extra food stamps right now. The extra food stamps they was giving everybody, they're cutting them out right now. This is the worst time for them to do that, because food prices are through the roof. But they don't care. The little pandemic increase that they gave everybody, they're cutting that out. At least here in Michigan they are. And they couldn't have picked the worst possible time with food, but they don't care. That's what I'm saying. They make cuts all the time in welfare and food stamps and stuff. That is a terrible reason to have a lot of kids. It is a horrible reason. People had big families in the olden days, but a lot of those women were married. But these days, women, the way the economy, women can't be popping out these kids like this. Women can't do it. And it's hard to take care of 1, 2 kids, let alone this many kids. And this woman didn't seem like she had a plan. She didn't have life insurance. They had to do a GoFundMe to bury her. It's just really sad. And black women we got to stop doing this. Black women got to stop doing this. That is a horrible reason to have children. You can't have children to get a check. You can't have children to get food stamps. And it's not a good reason to have children. And when black women have too many kids, you're putting yourself and your children at a disadvantage. You're sinking yourself deeper into poverty. You're going deeper into poverty when you do that. Now, is it different if you got married and y'all had a few kids and your husband passed away? or he left. Okay, well, that's the different situation. But to be a single woman and to just pop out a bunch of babies, it's not good. And you know you have no husband. It is not good. It is not good. You know, at some point you gotta take responsibility. At some point you gotta, get your tubes tied or birth control. They have birth control methods out there. They got you can get your tubes tied. There's no excuse. There is no excuse for black women to pop out kids like this. There's no excuse for it. She could have got her tubes tied, and now that unfortunately her poor mother is going to be burdened with the responsibility of taking care of all those kids. Hopefully, she's got two sisters, so hopefully the sisters will come in and help. Hopefully, she'll have family members. I'm hoping, pray they can get a house because they need a bigger house. But I think they have a GoFundMe. If you guys can go donate. I'm thinking about donating. I don't have much, but I might give them something, try to give them something. I don't have a whole lot of money, but I might try to give them something. But but yeah, this is bad. This is sad. This is really sad. And black women put themselves at a disadvantage, even becoming single mothers at all. If you're a single mother to one, it's rough. It's rough. I had two. It was rough. I couldn't imagine having any more kids. And so, it's not good for black women to pop out all these kids being single. It is not good. You put you and your children at a terrible disadvantage. And black children, as black people, we already have a hard enough time in the system. And you wanna am an advocate of having children under the best circumstances, particularly, especially black children, bringing them here under the best circumstances, securing a stable, good, loving husband, making sure that you guys are financially stable, making sure there's financial stability. Is it a guarantee? No, it's not, but making sure that you bring your children here under the best possible circumstances, because this is not a good situation. It is not a good situation. She's no longer here. And having all those children that close together was probably wreaking havoc on her body. It was probably really hard on her body. And I was thinking in terms of when she was pregnant with baby number 12, she had to take care of the other children while she was pregnant with baby number 12. So just imagine her body was going through. And then she had the youngest ones back to back. I mean, she had them back to back. So it takes a whole year for a woman's body to heal after having a baby. So it's like she wasn't even giving her body a chance to heal, and so that was probably very causing a lot of problems in her body. And so, black women, we got to stop it. Black women got to stop. It's not good to have multiple children as a single woman, as a single parent, And of course, I've talked about in many other videos the stigmatization, how we get terribly stigmatized and stereotyped. I've talked about that. And so you got that stigmatization, that horrible baby mama label we get. And so we got to put up with that. It's just a disadvantage all the way around. It's a terrible situation. And it's a disadvantage all the way around when black women pop out kids like this. It is not good. And we need to get to the girls. We need to get to them before they start the first period. We need to get to them real young in the schools and talk to them and try to steer them in a different direction, because this is not okay. This is not okay. And of course, other black women are going to get boxed in that same, but there's a lot of young black women that have that mindset to, it's like mothers got to start talking to their daughters. And then sometimes the mama got the same mindset. I pop out a bunch of babies, I'm gonna get help. A lot of times I was of the mindset of, well, I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna try to get a degree, and I'm gonna try to get a great job, and I want to be self sufficient. I wanted something out of life. I wanted things out of life. I didn't want to be on poverty in welfare. I didn't want to be in poverty. And so that's why I went to college so many years. I mean, I didn't land that great job. That's why I went to college for so many years, because I was like, yeah, I was like, I was living in a fantasy, but that's a whole nother video. I was living in a fantasy. I was, yeah, I'm going to get this great job and I'm going to have all this money. Yeah, I was living in a fantasy. But that was what my mindset was. That I was of that mindset. I was of the mindset of being successful and, putting my sons in the best possible situation that I can put my family in. And I didn't want to be in poverty. I didn't want to be on the welfare system, and so that was another reason why I made the decision to stop having kids after two. I got my tubes tied. And I said, "Oh, I'm done with this." When my family was saying, "Well, what if you get married?" I said, "Well, I don't want three baby daddies." I said, I messed up. I messed up. I said, I messed up, and didn't. I said, yep. So I got a plan B. Plan A was to get married. That's why there's a 10-year gap between my sons. Plan A was to get married before I had more kids. Well, I messed up. So I said, well, I messed up. So plan B. Plan B is get my tubes tied. I want to make sure this doesn't happen again. And so I was of that mindset. I said, because I'm not going to keep pushing babies out by these no good men and being stuck raising them by myself. I said, I'm not going to keep putting myself in this situation. I said, absolutely not. Not today. That one lady said, not today. I said, not me. I am not the one. I said, I ain't going to keep popping out these babies by these no good men. And they going to keep leaving me holding the baby. I said, no, 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 no. I smartened up. After my second son, I said, June, smarten up. I told myself, smarten up. Quit while you're ahead. And so that's what happened. I went 3 hours after I had my son. I said, I'm not leaving the hospital until it's done. 3 hours after I set it up all ahead of time. I had it all set up with my doctor. I set everything up ahead of time. And 3 hours after I had my son, they took me in there and got the job done. As I said, I'm not leaving the hospital until it's done. So that was me. I was of that mindset. So, we gotta talk to these young girls. We gotta talk to them and encourage them to abstain. And that's the goal. Abstinence. Encourage them to abstain until marriage, until they find a suitable marriage mate. Then family planning. How many children can you and your husband financially afford to take care of? If it's only one, one. If it's only two, two. If it's only three, three. Whatever y'all finances, y'all get together and figure out how much y'all can financially afford to take care of. In this economy, probably not very many. Like I said in other videos, you need 6 figures to take care of children. That's a whole nother video. I've already talked about that. 6 figures. 2 people, 6 figures, and a marriage mate. That's what you guys need between the both of you. You need 6 figures to take care of kids. Yes, you do. So this is let me know. Hit me up in the comment section. Sorry if this video is too long, but hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are on black women, single black women, popping out babies all over the place. This is not good. We got to change the mindset of our young ladies and our young men too. It goes both ways. Teach our young males abstinence as well. That's God's way. We gotta do things God's way, because if we don't do things. That's the problem. We're going outside of God's will, and when you go outside of God's will, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna have problems every time when you step outside of God's will. So we gotta do the way God tells us to do it. If we would do things the way God tells us to do it, we wouldn't have all these problems. Okay, well, hit me up in the comment section. I had to throw that in there. But hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think about not just this situation, but situation of single black women, popping out babies, you know, whatever. Um, no bashing, but just let me know what your honest thoughts are on it. Okay, hit that subscribe, like, and share. Until the next video, you guys be blessed and have a blessed day.